want to jump into this topic. I want to explore it from a woman's point of view because it's very much been a thing in America to desexualize games and movies, and I get it. You know what? I'm wrong. I don't get it. Susu, I respect her. I want to see her take on this. Like,
Female video game characters' designs have been a tense topic for ages, and today is no different. It all started over an IGN France article that made a series of inflammatory claims about the CEO of Shift Up, the game devs behind Stellar Blade. IGN France trashed CEO Kim Hyung-tae by claiming Eve was made by someone who has never seen a woman. So obviously these kinds of statements are clearly meant to rage bait gamers for clicks and engagement, but it stands out to me as particularly corny because the CEO is married to a very successful and talented concept artist, Ji-yoon Chae, who signs her art as Kyung. She's worked for huge companies like Blizzard, Square Enix, as well as other Shift Up games like Nikke and Destiny Child. IGN not doing the research here really
Nikke.
gargles gorilla gonads in my
Ooh.
opinion because they missed an awesome opportunity to highlight a woman in gaming. They try to show how they care about female representation in games while simultaneously acting like women couldn't possibly have any involvement in creating sexy characters like Eve. This is erasure, and it's...
You know what? I'm seeing that now, and I'm realizing that's true. Like, I think that there has been such a like polar push away from like female sexuality that we have now actually gone to like robbing females of their sexuality. We're like, no, you're not allowed to be sexual. If like Thor comes out shirtless, the guys clap, the women clap. No one gives a fuck. He's allowed to be sexy and feel sexy, but like women are not allowed to be sexy anymore because if women feel sexy, they are objects to men's stare.
Really gross. I've also been a big fan of Kim Hyung-tae's art ever since I saw his art on the cover of the Magna Carta games, as well as his work for Queen's Blade. So, you know, as a fan, it sucks seeing him slandered like that. The article also makes comparisons between two other famous female characters. Talk about sexism. Not even fictional women are safe from being pit against one another. They mention Bayonetta, saying she is an iconic character design and therefore not sexist like Eve. Bayonetta slander is particularly offensive to me because back in the day, the sentiment of women can be sexy and strong wasn't common. It's like basically beating a dead horse today. Everybody knows that. But believe me when I tell you, times were more sexist just like 10 years ago, which isn't that long.
The weird thing here is too, I say this often, I say this a lot. Fuck, I'm gonna get political. I feel like both ends of the spectrum kind of unite sometimes. Like the middle doesn't care. The left is like no objectifying women, and the right is also like no. Women are harlots. They need to cover their body. Their body is a sin because Jesus Christ told me it's a sin.
But I'm telling you, we've come a long way in gaming. Now we have more female gamers openly expressing that they like these characters because they're not getting shamed for it like they used to. To some of you guys, this may sound like totally crazy, and maybe it's because you're under 20 years old or something, but us old heads, we remember a time where women were shamed for liking sexy female characters, usually by like other women, or sometimes guys would be really weird about it. Like, I used to like playing as Ivy in Soul Calibur because she was cool and I thought she was hot, and I liked the challenge that her cool throws would do. Like, pulling off Summon Suffering was the biggest, dickest move ever, okay? It made me feel really cool, and I liked to show off that I could do it, so I would play Ivy. And then sometimes guys would be like, oh, you play Ivy, you must be a slut, blah, blah. And I'm like 14, what the fuck? It was a weird time. I also like playing Valdo because he's also fun in a challenge, and he's pretty slutty too, but no one ever shamed me for
See,
that.
I just said that. I feel like
a lot more hateful towards the sexy.
I feel like men have a lot more a lot more of a past to feel good about themselves and their bodies. It is insane how women are like, you're not allowed to feel sexy in your bodies. You are not allowed to like look great. Women are not allowed to look great. No, don't look good.
Female characters. And another thing, that's what makes Valdo special, because he was a sexy man. And for whatever reason, people act like he wasn't sexy. Okay, maybe he was like a little weird and corpse-like or whatever, but that just makes him hotter to me. So take that, sexists. They do the same with 2B, praising her for inspiring an entire generation of cosplayers, then go on to call Eve a bland, sexualized
2B?
doll. This was upsetting.
2B? the thickest, chunkiest, lovely lady? Nah, fuck that. I love her. I love her. And if anyone says anything negative, I will find you. I will murder you.
To read because Bayonetta and 2B had to overcome an onslaught of negativity and
I didn't
sexism
say
claims
anything.
to be seen as the icons they are today. I was there. I remember. You can't fool me. Also, speaking of 2B, Keiichi Okabe, who worked on the soundtrack for Nier Automata, also worked on some of Stellar Blade's music. Worlds are colliding. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, in Stellar Blade, Eve is a battle android whose purpose is eradicating an evil alien life form. So the aesthetics and themes throughout the game have a lot of biblical symbolism and parallels, which made me think a lot about Bayonetta and made me wish the game leaned more heavily into that aesthetic because it's never not cool, no matter how many times it's reimagined. I also wish the game took a page out of Nier Automata's book by making the android characters a bit more fleshed out and interesting in the game. Stellar does have a comic that shows Eve and Tachi on their home planet, but if people have to look outside of the game for more context about the characters, they most likely won't do that and they're gonna miss out. So just put it in the game. Eve also has like a British accent. Like that wasn't even British. Whatever. She has a British accent like Bayonetta.
An attempt was
android
made.
Like 2B, and they all have fantastic bodies
Yes.
and great outfits. So I would love to see artists get together and make them all like interacting and being friends. None of this competitiveness, just good old-fashioned friendliness, and maybe more than friends. So back to the IGN article comparing the three. Bayonetta was frequently painted to be a sexist design by game journos back in 2012, who, like the people writing for IGN today, didn't do any research and once again disregarded the women behind the designs. Just look at this video of Feminist Frequency's Anita Sarkeesian commenting on Bayonetta.
The game stars a character named Bayonetta. It's your basic story of a shape-shifting witch dressed in skin-tight leather who can turn into giant cats and has a small arsenal of weapons, including whips. And of course she's lost her memories, and there's some evil demon horde, and there's a magical gem of the world, something, and so forth, but all of that is besides the point when it comes to this game. First, the positive things about the game.
The whole point of the game, that's besides the point. The gameplay and the hordes of zombies, that's besides the point. Let's not talk about the gameplay. Let's talk about the oogling the women and how you should not do that.
She's a single mother.
Based.
And that's kind of it. So on to the negatives. She carries with her 4 pistols, 2 of which are strapped to her high-heeled boots, which provide the perfect opportunity for her to contort her body into pornographic poses, including spreading her legs and doing a little flip in the air to kill the bad guys. When she lands, she does a little sexy pose for the player, complete with the sound of a camera shutter snapping. But it gets even better, because one of her most powerful weapons involves her stripping all her clothes off and turning her hair into an evil demon weapon fighting machine. Did you get that? The whole taking all her clothes off in order to use her hair as a weapon? Because clearly
play it one more time.
You can't use your hair.
Clearly, you are using that for fucking the clickbait. You are using that to be like, I'm gonna play it one more time to really keep my retention high, guys. One more time. Will I be demonetized?
Hair to drag demons down to hell if you're fully clothed. Predictably, the internet is now infested with gamers' screen captures of the various ways that they got Bayonetta naked. As if this pornographic, overly sexualized, animated representation isn't bad enough, the way that Bayonetta restores her power is by sucking on a lollipop. But I'm not really here to discuss the overly sexualized adolescent male fantasy that Bayonetta is, but rather talk about part of the game's marketing strategy.
Attitudes like that weren't uncommon when it came to Bayonetta, which sucks because Bayonetta's designer, Mari Shimikaze, who also goes by the alias Shimako, is female, she's not dead. On Platinum Games' official blog, Shimako made a post in 2009 that stated that she enjoyed how when Bayonetta uses more of her power, she reveals more of her skin. Her power comes from her hair, which is wrapped around her body to make her outfit. So she's not actually wearing clothes, she's wearing her hair. And nudity is often seen as vulnerability, but Bayonetta makes it her strength, which a lot of women felt was cool and sexy and empowering. Me, I'm those women. Bayonetta not only got slandered for being like hypersexual with her personality and all that, she got slandered for the way that she was like drawn. People would say, oh, there's no way, this body's impossible. She's like 8 heads tall. She's like
Honestly, I see it like it's very it's stylized. It's like I get it if it's like very super realistic, like right, if it looks realistic and you're like that body's impossible and you're like, okay, yeah, sure, buddy. But she looks very stylized. She looks like literally an impossible human shape. It's an art style. It's not a realistic representation. It's more abstract than it is. It's more towards the side of abstract than it is towards the side of realistic.
8 feet tall, that's not real. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's not real. She's a super powerful, sexy witch who uses her hair to kill giant Lovecraftian angel creatures. You know, maybe that extra arm length helps her fight better. But it was a stylistic choice because the longer limbs made the action sequences more aesthetically pleasing because it was easier to follow her movements. Bayonetta was able to transcend hateful labels because the gameplay was great and people highlighted the fact that the designer was a woman. And Shimako's ideas were also utilized in shaping Bayonetta's super sexy and super dommy personality. Women who loved Bayonetta spoke up, and now she's adored by like everybody. Time, however, is a flat circle, and we're seeing all the trash that was said about Bayonetta and 2B said about Eve. If you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it, so here we go again. And I bet anything, journos who insulted Stellar Blade will later release articles about how Eve is an icon and an inspiration, but I'll remember what they said at the beginning. I was here when it was written. So with the biggest criticism against Stellar Blade being the fact that Eve was an unrealistic depiction of a woman and a sexualized doll and all that, it must have been a really big plot twist for the detractors to discover that Eve was based off a real woman, South Korean model Shin Jae-eun, who shift up 3D scan to create
Google
Eve.
that.
So this whole IGN debacle created a massive shitstorm on Twitter, aka x.com, Elon's sex bot haven, because if you post anything there, you'll be swarmed by porn spam bots. Wow, your dog just died? Well, come on down to Ram Ranch and check out the 18 naked cowboys.
Dead dog in bio.
At Ram Ranch. Okay, sorry about that. I'm personally just really annoyed at how often I get porn spammed on Twitter, and I'm kind of letting it affect me today, so again, sorry. I think Twitter has honestly been one of the worst things to happen to games because you get like these mobs of people complaining and...
Dude, I sometimes will see people like just find 3 guys mad and then make a whole YouTube video on that and be like, here's 3 guys triggered. And I'm just like, bro, it's not an issue. Like, one, it's 2 things. It's 2 things. It's people making issues where there's not a fucking issue at all and be like, here's 5 guys mad. They be making YouTube videos about it and be like, here's 5 guys I found that say things. And like, there's a bunch of spineless YouTubers. They won't say shit. They will post tweets of people saying the shit they don't have the fucking balls to say. If you don't have the fucking balls to say it and you gotta find a tweet that says it, you're fucking spineless. Dude, say what you gotta say. Don't hide behind tweets. Don't be like, people on Twitter are saying this. What do you guys think? You're such a fucking spineless bitch. Get a life. Say what you say with your fucking chest. Say it like a man.
Harassing game developers, but they don't buy the games even if the developers apologize and make the changes that they claim to want. There's a difference between customers and complainers, and a lot of the complainers aren't customers and won't become customers even if something is changed, because the way Twitter is structured is that the more outrage
I kind of think maybe that's a good way to think about things.
People generate, the more clicks and the more income that they can get, because, you know, once you get that Twitter blue, impressions equal dollars, and what's the best way to get impressions? Piss everyone off. So hopefully game developers will stop listening so much to hate mobs on Twitter and continue to make games that gamers like. I like seeing attractive characters in my game. I also like seeing horrendously grotesque characters in my game.
True.
I would love a game where I can play as either a very beautiful character or a really gross character. I don't like bland...
Honestly, she's not wrong. Like, really, if you feel represented in the game, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, thick, skinny, whatever you want to be, if that's in the game, dude, nobody's going to be mad. I mean, there's always someone mad.
Boring designs. I don't want designs that look like reality. I don't want games that look like going to Target, going to the grocery store. I don't see normal looking people. I see them every fucking day. I play games to see something better than I can see in reality. And I feel like a lot of gamers feel that way too. So as I mentioned before, beloved icons of gaming like Bayonetta and 2B suffered similar criticisms, which triggered some PTSD of the feminist frequency versus Gamergate days, thus causing a lot of gamers to go nuclear on Twitter defending Eve. So we end up with thousands of different variant tweets, basically saying stuff like, those wokies are trying to take our sexy game women. They've been saying this for decades.
Yeah, bro, that's the one thing that gets on my nerves. I like the people complaining about like fucking sexy women are annoying, but the people complaining of like the woke just hate and want to ruin games, and I'm just like, okay, you bro, chill. You're just as annoying. Stop acting like you're not.
So I won't really get into that, but after braving the smegma storm, I discovered a valid point that got brought up thanks to another game receiving some attention. Supergiant Games revealed character designs for their new roguelike, Hades 2, and Aphrodite got a lot of positive attention for her sexy design by game journalists. Interesting considering some of these same journalists had bashed similar sexy designs like Eve from Stellar Blade and even Quiet from Metal Gear Solid. This hypocrisy was quickly pointed out and led to gamers discussing how these biased critiques stem from.
Man, I actually kind of wonder if, like, why. I want to know, you know what? Man, I would love to hear, like, the journalist point of view of, like, because maybe they have a perspective. Or maybe someone's going to be, like, brutally honest and be like, this game company, they give us millions.
From racism towards Asian game developers by Western journalists. Could racism be at play here? Probably. Humanity is shit. We all hate each other for arbitrary reasons, we're killing the planet, and we're pretending like climate change isn't real. Did you guys know a tornado that was like 2.6 miles wide hit Oklahoma in 2013? That's the largest tornado in recorded history. It's the end times. So with the character Aphrodite from Hades 2 getting a lot of praise, I feel like this taps into an interesting Twitter topic that I saw not too long ago called Safe Horny. I know that sounds really weird, but it's basically the theory that men have been so shamed for expressing their interest in sexy women that they try to express their interest in a way that's like more palatable to others. So you see it all the time. Men like a hot girl's picture and other people will call him a simp, usually other guys. Guys, you need to stop bashing each other for enjoying a nice pair of titties. Enjoy them together. What happened to the good old days of enjoying a nice glass of scotch over a pair of boobs or whatever it was that old guys used to do? I don't know. In order to get less made fun of and still be able to,
I'd say, like, enjoy the eye candy. Like, take it in, enjoy the eye candy. Don't be a weird motherfucker. Don't be a fucking weirdo. But, like, enjoy it. Let them know you appreciate it. Be like, hey, yo, good work, man. I like.
express themselves. Guys will say stuff like, oh, step on me, mommy. I love muscle mommy. They'll say things that
I'm called out right now. I'm problematic.
put the woman in power. And maybe they do like that. But you know what? A lot of these guys that have told me, oh yeah, I love a woman that takes charge. And then I try to take charge and they're like, oh, why are you bossing me around? And I'm like, bitch, what did you just fucking say to me?
Oh my god. You know what? Do it. Nothing else to add.
They're just saying shit. That's what these safe horny guys are doing. They're just saying this because they feel like, oh, nobody's gonna get offended if I say I want her to step on me because...
Okay, guys, what if you be like, I want to step on... What if you just be like, what if guys just be honest? I want to step on you. I feel like, man, that's insane. That's kind of sad. There's a lot of guys that just don't want to be bossed around. The fuck is wrong with you?
That's not degrading her. That's making her look cool. You know, it does make me feel cool when people ask me to step on them. So keep doing that. But it's also unfortunate that some of it is not genuine. It's just coming from a place of guys being afraid to express themselves how they normally would by saying, wow, great boobs. Sometimes they are great boobs. Sometimes...
Is that a thought? Like, what's a like normal guy's thoughts? Oh, damn, I smashed. There we go. That feels like actually normal.
It's an appropriate time to say that. Sometimes it's not. Most of the time it's not. Like if you're at a grocery store and the lady's shopping and you're like, oh man, look at them tits.
Okay, go to the bar. If you want to be like nice boobs, go to the bar.
You know, stop that. But you know, if it's your favorite OnlyFans girl and she just posted a great boob pic, she'll probably like that as a compliment. There's a time and a place for everything. A great example of safe horny is that Joe Cat video. You know, the one that's like, I like big girls, itty bitty girls, super kitty girls, pants shitty girls, whatever it was that he said. That video is what people usually use as an example of safe horny. I just think he was expressing that he likes lots of different types of girls.
True.
And he's kind of been run off the internet because people made fun of him so badly, which again ties into people need to stop making fun of guys for just expressing themselves, especially if they're not being horrible. I think all horrible people, regardless of gender, should be shamed. This safe horny topic, there's so much that goes into it. Maybe if
I don't think there's really like a true safe horny, because like it's different, and what you have to do is you have to read the room, motherfucker. You have to go in there and read the room. Take 5 minutes to sit quietly and listen, motherfucker. Motherfuckers just pop in and be like, nice tits, and then get banned in Twitch chat. That's all it takes. It's not hard.
You know, I could probably also make a video going more in depth about how important Bayonetta is to me. But that video is probably going to be an hour long. And people are going to watch it. It's a very specific niche.
It is.
Special interest.
I don't watch the game or play the game.
About that life. This Western media debacle over Eve's design made news overseas and became the subject of many East Asian memes. You know, there's nothing like a good controversy to get the memes flowing. I mentioned before how women involved in character design get totally ignored by journalists looking to push the sexism narrative. Well, they also love to ignore actual female gamers who consume the very games these journos claim to be an affront to women everywhere. Like, how else do we end up with an entire generation of cosplayers dressing up like 2B if the media doesn't also appeal to women?
Fucking scroll Twitter, dude. Scroll Twitter. Not Twitter. Scroll Instagram. Get on Instagram. Go check out the cosplayers. You'll enjoy it. You'll have a good time.
95% of 2B cosplayers are women. Women like beautiful characters. Anyway, here's some really cute reactions from women seeing Eve for the first time.
I believe this is only on PlayStation.
Is that an accent that I hear?
Come on,
Wait,
come on,
it's
come
not
on.
working! Did I fail? I'm stuck. Am I gonna die? Oh, okay, we're fine. We're fine.
Oh, snap.
Oh my god, women like beautiful women. That's crazy.
Oh, oops! I almost missed that. Oh, shit.
Wait, so
You're just showing
she's
all
very
of it.
shiny.
Okay. Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
Goddamn mummy. Excuse me.
Okay, girl.
She's stunning. They're all stunning.
To be who?
What's for the others?
Remember how I mentioned the smegma storm?
The
well,
what?
It came back with a vengeance in the wake of censorship surrounding the game's release. Apparently, Sony was alerted to the Boner Brigade battening down
what?
the hatches of their goon caves and prepping for the collective
We
fab of the
gooning.
century. So they decided something needed to be done before Eve got the Overwatch treatment. The joke there is that more people watch Overwatch porn than play the games. So changes were allegedly made to some of Eve's outfits to eliminate like 20% of visible titty flesh, which was weird given it was already a rated M game. Another censorship was the removal of the hard R graffiti on one of the walls. It didn't actually say the hard R word, it just said literally hard R. But the word hard was replaced with crime. This greatly
Crime
upset
R.
the Coomer Coalition, which sparked the Free Stellar Blade hashtag on Twitter and even a petition to remove the censorship. Here's an example of one of their representatives.
I stand with the gamers of the PlayStation Republic, but I do not stand with the developers of Stellar Blade. I want to see her feet more than anything, but people are talking about how her cleavage is hidden. Look, you can see everything. Her butt, her nice personality. I will play the game when it's cheaper than $40, but until then I will not buy it unless you drop the developers. And you can't let Sony drop your freedom. You have to defend it. And also, please bring back
I love this guy. I love his energy. I want that energy.
comic strip.
People said the clothing changes aren't in the physical copy, some people said it doesn't exist at all, but it ignited another interesting conversation in regards to selective censorship. If Baldur's Gate 3 can have full frontal nudity with peen physics as well as actual sex scenes, then why can't Eve show some cleave? Also, did anyone like whip around their character in the creation screen in Baldur's Gate so they could look at the dingling swing, or am I just like really?
I haven't played the
I
game.
feel like the argument between gamers who want to enjoy the sexy aspects of the game and the people who are hating on it are like potentially filtering normal gamers. I hope that the Twitter intensity doesn't stop people from looking at the actual gameplay of Stellar Blade and then playing it themselves, because this is exactly what we had happen with Bayonetta, which helped to get rid of the sexism claims that were just not true. It helped bring attention to a female designer who worked on Bayonetta, and it helped change attitudes towards female video game characters.
Honestly, that's the positive. That's the positive of all of this, like, hatred. The positive is like, oh, this creator now is like more well known. Everyone is like looking at her now because they're like, yeah, well, a woman made it.
Unfortunately, we're
Like my
kind of
Crayolas.
regressing, I feel like, in terms of character design, where all of the women need to be made less sexy in order to not be sexist. I think the real solution would just be to make the men more sexy, because then we have actual equality. I don't think censorship
Yes,
and
I
toning down
approve.
bodies and reducing femininity is the way to go. Just make the men sluttier. Ball physics. Baldur's Gate did it. More games should do this. Final Fantasy XIV had some sexy outfits for the guys. There was actually this one Final Fantasy mobile game that I don't remember, but it had a sexy costume for the man, and people complained about it so much that they just made it like a DLC for the guy instead. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. I need to deep dive onto the internet here. Does anybody remember what I'm talking about? It was not a famous, popular Final Fantasy game by any means.
Let's
Anyway,
do a
Stellar
deep dive
Blade
on
has
sexy
already
men.
sold over 1 million copies, and people are raving about the gameplay and character designs. Currently, the game has the 3rd highest rated user score in PS5 history, only surpassed by Resident Evil 4 and Cyberpunk 2077. Does this mean Eve will end up joining the iconic ranks of Bayonetta and 2B? I hope so, because those SFM video creators create art. Like, yeah, it's hentai, but it's art. Thanks for watching, and stay stellar.
Let's go, boys! We out! That was an interesting watch for me because I got to learn a lot. Thanks for watching.